So to this point, we talked about many different aspects. So like in the morning, we discussed boundaries and about that. There has to be. This one is working. Okay. So we talked about that there should be the content knowledge to teach these topics. But in two different presentations, we would like to show there are so many things that we need to do in terms of the pedagogy and how pre-service teachers and teachers implement these ideas, where we are at this point and what we found in an implementation in Turkey. So this is one of the associate editors of JARS. Tali probably will recognize the name. So, and I was in sabbatical, and she allowed me to remodify one of her courses, and we taught these design-based applications in a science education course. So, but before we start, we discussed what we say about climate change. But we just want to say education is at the starting point, actually. So this is actually, like, we searched the articles that mention climate change in the abstracts, okay? There are almost 300,000 articles in Web of Science. But when it comes to educational research, it's only 1,500. So this means that education, like when we only look at the abstracts, education only represents 1% of the studies about climate change. So in terms of education and what we are talking in education, we are still at this starting point. So there is so much that we need to discuss. And we just looked into what do climate change studies say actually. So like, as you can see, here the knowledge building that we discussed in 2 days is really important, and there's sustainability. So if the circle is bigger, that means that it has a higher representation. And one of the things that we discussed today, environmental education, sustainability, and building knowledge is important. And one of the key practices, so in these two presentations, you will hear a lot of argumentation, and I'll talk about socio-scientific issues today, and we will discuss like what the pre-service teachers were doing here, okay? And when we look at the leading countries here, as you can see, like the climate change education research is done mainly by the researchers in the US, Canada, and Australia and England actually. Because these 4 countries accumulated the majority of the articles in climate change education. So when we say we are still at the beginning, there's too much to discuss in different countries, and there are so many aspects that are still uncovered. But let's delve into what we have here. So like, as we discussed in science education, like one of the key practices that we have is in argumentation and inquiry. And recent studies started to implement modeling and model-based explanations. And in science education, actually, let me just go back. Can I go back? Like this. Okay. So as you can see, socio-scientific issues was a common topic in science education studies. And what we did in this study was just to look at how socio-scientific issue studies implement model-based explanations. And we found very few examples that were dealing with the idea of climate change and sustainability. So like these studies, for instance, like in one of the studies that focused on supporting high school students to teach antibiotic resistance actually. In another study, Puig and Evermore focused on creating a unit that focuses on how to create beehives for pre-service teachers, okay? So there are really few examples that started to implement model-based and model building for pre-service teachers and teachers as a socio-scientific issue. So in this study, what we did was to understand how pre-service teachers create a learning environment when they are trying to implement all these different ideas. Okay, and I'll show you a couple of examples about what they did in this presentation. And when we look into the learning environments created by the pre-service teachers, I'm moving forward because I want you to watch the videos. I know we are late, but I'll move a little forward just to show you what they did actually in action. But I will talk about how did pre-service teachers use evidence to make coherent connections during the argumentation activities. So like when we were in ICSAL, during the weekend, we saw one of the great examples, right? Students were doing like back and forth, like they were developing these arguments and counter arguments. And I'll discuss how the pre-service teachers did this in this course, and how did they use evidence when they were creating design-related activities. So like we will talk about how these students used evidence when they were creating argumentation activities and design activities. Okay, so we will take a look at how did they use from this angle actually. So this was a 14-week course, and this course was taught during the pandemic. So all courses were online, just so you know. Like this, all the sessions were recorded through Zoom. We never met face to face, and we had 29 seniors taking the course, and we used a qualitative approach in this study. Oops. So before we start, we gave pre-service teachers different articles about like socio-scientific issues, because this was the thing that they were familiar with, and we started the approach to climate change from the socio-scientific issue viewpoint. And if you're in science education, you probably read Troy Sadler saying this is a socio-scientific issue, and you probably cited that article. So, and the pre-service teachers started thinking about climate change problems on the 4th week, and they created several activities, and then they implemented this in the classroom. And we had 8 group of teachers, okay, and all of them were supposed to create a problem. They needed to find a problem related to climate change, and I will show you the design products that they created. So this is the first group. So what they did was that their problem was, should we try to control the effects of global climate change by risking a more limited life? And they did try to create different compost materials in this design activity. In the second one, the question was, how does the zoos or wildlife parks affect biodiversity? And in this one, the students created a natural park by themselves. Like this was an animation, and I will show you the park that they created. In the next one, they focused on GMO. So, is GMO beneficial or harmful? And this group created 2 cheeses actually, and compared different cheeses, and I'll show how they created those cheeses. And the next group focused on the waste management. It's like, should we burn solid waste or not? So this group actually created an app that this was similar to the presentations we had from one of the groups. Like in the app, if you do the right things, you get rewards. If you do the wrong things, you get punishment actually, you lose points actually. It was like a game. For mining actually, students created a model for a rehabilitation area. And in the next design project, students focused on the power plants, and they created a model for an energy saver house actually. And for the meat consumption, students created a farming model. As you can see, for the things that students struggled to build, they usually created models instead. And for the chemical industries, these students created soaps actually. So they created different soaps and tested these soaps with their friends actually. So these were the, in a nutshell, a summary of the design projects. And what we did was, we focused on how these students actually use evidence in their argumentation sessions, and whether they provide satisfactory evidence for different viewpoints, like pros and cons, like the ones that we saw in school that we visited, and whether they create rebuttals or not. For the design activities, what we looked was how they select different parameters for the design and how they add evidence related to these different parameters, okay? Because we want science teachers to critically analyze different sources of data, right? Like even when they create the argumentation activities and when they create the design activities, what we want them is to have multiple viewpoints and to present evidence related to these multiple viewpoints. And I'll show you in which sections they were most successful. So when we look at the argumentation section, the groups didn't really struggle with finding evidence. There were only 2 groups, however, providing sufficient evidence for pros and cons. Like when we ask students to think by looking from different perspectives, this was a challenge for argumentation actually for us. Like, and finding this satisfactory evidence was a huge problem for us. Like, we saw, like as I said, like a great example, but it's not that easy. When we think about climate change, students sometimes struggle to find evidence from different perspectives because usually the evidence that they found is against. Supporting climate change was a challenge for these students because, like, if you are discussing different sides of different perspectives, they usually find like opposite sides of arguments, but the counter arguments usually struggle. So that's one of the challenges that we had inside the classroom. Like, remember in the discussion that we had in ICSA, the group that was supporting the jobs had to be, like, they were quieter than the other group, right? Because supporting that side is a little harder than supporting the other side because there's so much evidence for the other section actually. And when we look at the design activities, that was a huge challenge actually. Students usually see design through one parameter, and students didn't really have multiple parameters. But I'll show you a good example because we need to promote the good ideas, right?
Hello everyone. Today we will see differences between cheese made with biotech products and natural cheese. First, we will mention about what we need in this design. Second, costs of both cheeses. Then, we will continue with fabrication of cheeses. After that, we will show product yield of each cheese. Then, we will demonstrate nutritional and pH values. Finally, we will show the consistency and shelf life of the two cheeses. In this design, we need two identical pots, 5 liters milk, 9 packages of milk powder, 5 liters water. Can us produce natural cheese? We bought raw milk and water. Raw milk was 6 Turkish liras per liter. We bought 5 liters, so we paid 30 Turkish liras. We used 200 milliliters boiling water while producing natural cheese. 5,000 milliliters of water were 6.95 Turkish liras. We paid 0.28 Turkish liras for water. To produce cheese made with biotech products, we needed milk powder and water. 200 grams of milk powder were 5 Turkish liras. We used 1,648 grams milk powder, so we paid 41.5 Turkish liras for milk powder. We used 3,335 milliliters water. 5,000 milliliters of water were 6.95 Turkish liras. We paid 4.64 Turkish liras for water. In total, natural cheese cost 30.28 Turkish liras. Cheese made with biotech product cost 46.14 Turkish liras. By the way, as we use same amount rennet in both cheeses, we did not add it as costs. Let's continue with the fabrication process. Hello everyone, in this video we will see fabrication of cheese made with biotech products and natural cheese, and we will report the differences during the fabrication process of cheeses. Before we are starting, we want to say we made cheeses separately to use identical oven top. We started our project 11 days before our lesson. First, we went to dairy to buy raw milk. Then, we added raw milk into a pot. After that, we waited until it boils on low heat. We mix it with a spoon from time to time so that evaporation accelerates. The milk started to boil after 66 minutes. Meanwhile, we used the thermometer to measure the boiling temperature. We measured the boiling temperature of milk as 91.5 Celsius. After the milk boiled,
as you can see, there's so much to discuss during this process. They could skip those information, but as we discussed, there's so much that we can add. And we were discussing very much actually the ideas that everybody's quite much. So let's continue. Yeah. Sure. Okay, let me just fast forward. Looks like we don't have so much time. And as you can see, like I'll just show you the edit. then they will
20 minutes to experiment.
There you go. And they will compare, like they will make these comparisons between different cheeses and like the prices and how long the product lasted when they left it in the fridge and whether they liked it or not. And they also calculated nutritional values. So as I said, there were so many aspects that they could add into the design process.
Hello everyone.
And in the other group, I will show you the design process and I will discuss this. So what they did was, let me just show you quickly what they had, because the audio is not working for this one. Oh, come on. There you go. No, it's moving, but it's a little slower than expected. So what they did here was, they selected the endemic species from Turkey, and they tried to create a natural environment and tried to feed like what these different animals would need. And they were trying to rely on the endemic species in Turkey. So this was a really nice discussion. The audio doesn't work, but we really like that they selected the species that live in Turkey and tried to find food that is endemic to Turkey actually. So in a nutshell, to summarize, one of the things that we need to think when we're teaching climate change is the coherence actually. So when we see climate change as a complex idea, there are so many aspects that the students need to uncover, and they need to think about the interrelated science and social dimensions to understand this complex problem, right? So this is a really complex phenomena for the students, and we need to understand how teachers and pre-service teachers coherently build these ideas in different activities. So in our case, they did a little better in argumentation, but when it comes to design and another dimension, we only had 2 groups that I showed you were really successful, but the others really struggled actually in our case. So that's why, like in a nutshell, I just want to say, we still have a lot to discuss, and Fatma will add other dimensions from the curriculum standpoint, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Question? Is there any questions?
إبراهيم teşekkürler. At the moment, there's a really problem with trust. Who is making the facts? There's many facts. There's many reality. I, as a biotechnologist, I will be the cheaper one, the cheaper cheese, because after 1 year or 2 years, we will discover that both cheese are made from the same material. That's it. Maybe
I think you're right, and what we are doing like in education actually, in terms of the climate change, is at the baby steps, to be honest. Like we are just trying to uncover so many aspects, and we are at the basics actually, to be honest, because there's so much science behind it, and we don't really expect at this point the pre-service teachers or the science teachers to understand all the reasoning behind it. So yeah, but we have still too much to do to make sure that we cover everything in the right way, to be honest. Because